Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. On the show tonight, with the BJP clear that Narendra Modi is their choice for Prime Minister, is it time for the Congress to name a Prime Ministerial candidate as well? Can the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi afford to look the other way for much longer? Or do people vote for issues over personalities? That's going to be a big political debate also tonight. They tell us these are difficult times for the economy. We should tighten our belts and be ready for austerity. So then why should taxpayers be paying for bureaucrats to get treatment abroad for medical conditions? That's a little later in the show. But first tonight, campaigning in Rajasthan today, Rahul Gandhi was in attack mode as he went after Narendra Modi and pitched the BJP as a party of rich people and the Congress as a party of the poor. Without actually naming Modi, Rahul said opposition leaders only make tall claims. An eager media, of course, has certainly tried to pitch the 2014 elections as a Rahul versus Modi battle, but the Vice President of the Congress is clearly a reluctant leader. The question is, with Modi now clearly the BJP's choice, can the party afford to not take a decision?
Rahul Gandhi's Bijli Pani plan to secure votes in Rajasthan, where it faces a tough challenge from the BJP. And days after the BJP nominated Narendra Modi as their prime ministerial candidate, the Congress vice president took a dig at Modi's model of development and highlighted the UPA's flagship scheme.
चाहे वो नरेगा की बात की, भोजन के अधिकार की बात की, सिंचाई की बात की, बिजली की बात की, हमने करके दिखाया। ये फर्क है हम में और उनमें। अब कांग्रेस पार्टी ने इस नारे को बदल दिया। फूड सिक्योरिटी बिल लाए, अब ये नारा बदल गया। आपको मालूम होना चाहिए, पेट भर के रोटी खाएंगे, कांग्रेस पार्टी को लाएंगे।
The comparison is inevitable. Is Rahul Gandhi Congress's answer to Narendra Modi? Should the Congress too declare its prime ministerial candidate?
He is the vice president of India's largest political party. But idea is not about attaining a position of CM or PM. Idea is how much dedication you have for the people and for the country.
BJP's campaign in Rajasthan was kicked off by Narendra Modi last week. So the Gohil government got the Rahul Gandhi push. 2 public rallies in less than a week. And that too in traditional BJP strongholds.
चुनाव हार गए, फिर पार्लियामेंट में रोकने की कोशिश की। और ये जो 500,000 लोग हैं, ये हवाई जहाजों पे उड़े, ये बड़ी बड़ी गाड़ियों पे चले, ये उनकी राजनीति है और ये हमारी राजनीति नहीं है।
The Congress party always maintains that 2014 polls will not be a face-off between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi, simply because we do not have a presidential system of elections. But comparisons are inevitable, as both Mr. Modi and Rahul Gandhi are the faces of their party for the next campaign. In Bara, with camera person Ashok Mahale, Sandeep Phukan, NDTV.
So should the Congress party name its prime ministerial candidate? Should that be Rahul Gandhi? Can the Congress afford to look the other way for much longer? Joining us tonight, let me first introduce our commentators this evening. We have Dilip Padgaonkar joining us tonight from Pune, Lord Meghnad Desai from Goa, Yogendra Yadav, well-known political analyst and member of the Aam Aadmi Party, joins us tonight from Delhi, and our political leaders tonight, Mr. Chandan Mitra of the BJP and senior Congress leader Shaktisinh Gohil here in Delhi with us. Let me ask Mr. Gohil first, that why is the Congress so reluctant to name a prime ministerial candidate? You keep saying that Rahul Gandhi is not interested, he's above all this, he's working for the poor, he's working for the tribals. But can you afford to ignore the fact that the opposition has put up a prime ministerial candidate and you haven't? Why not give people an alternative?
Look, Nidhi, when it comes to leadership issue, we are very clear. Our leader is Sonia ji, Rahul ji, Prime Minister is Manmohan Singh ji. In past, without any controversy, NDA has decided that our prime ministerial candidate is Advani ji, PM in waiting. But the mature democracy of this country rejected Advani ji and elected UPA government. It was very easy for Sonia ji to capture the prime ministerial post in 1991, when including Narasimha Rao, everybody had requested, come and take over this post. She refused. When in 2004, we got the majority. No one can say no to Sonia ji.
But you named Manmohan Singh in 2009. You named Manmohan Singh in 2009. Of course,
yes,
much later into the campaign.
She was physically fit. She was heading the government. and it was decided. But we respect the people's mandate. We have the elected members and thereafter High Command. After listening the voice of the elected members, High Command always take the decision, and there is no fight for any individual post, which is in BJP. The hypocrisy of RSS is that our Pracharak will not take any political post. What happened in case of Narendra Modi?
The point is they have somebody that they clearly see as their leader, and the Congress seems to be there with a reluctant leader who doesn't want to take on responsibility.
We have a clarity. We have our leaders, no doubt about it, and a capable leader. We can take proud of them. They are our leaders. Neat and clean image of Rahul Gandhi ji. You cannot compare with a mass murderer. You cannot have a leader who is a controversial, who is dividing society. We have a leader.
So is that what this is really about, Chandan Mitra, that the Congress is reluctant to have a Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi battle, that they're actually afraid to pit the two against each other?
Well, I think your question answers itself. I don't think there is a comparison between Mr. Narendra Modi, the kind of response he is evoking, his track record in governance, his delivery systems are far, far superior than anything that the Congress has to offer, and anything in particular that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has to say. We don't even know what his views on various aspects of security, of national issues, economics, nothing do we know. And he is still, I would say, he is still an apprentice leader. He has a lot to learn. I don't rule him out for the future, but this time it is premature, and they know that against a leader of Mr. Modi's stature, Mr. Rahul Gandhi really will not stand in comparison, which is why the Congress is hesitant to name a leader. They haven't been hesitant in the past, but this time they will hesitate, because by misfortune of the country, if the Congress does come back to power, it will be Rahul Gandhi. But they don't want to risk Rahul Gandhi losing his very first election as Prime Ministerial candidate, so they will keep it under wraps till the last minute.
Let me ask Yogendra Yadav though, do you believe, Yogendra, that the Congress would be at a disadvantage for not naming a Prime Ministerial candidate, for not projecting Rahul as their face? In a sense he already is, de facto, but if they don't do it formally, does that really put them at a disadvantage?
The short answer is yes. Although we are a parliamentary democracy, but in effect all over the world, modern democracies in times of intense media, 24-hour, 24/7 coverage, they are driven by personalities, and you need a face. Congress's problem is not that they do not have one. Their problem is that they do not know if they can risk putting that forward. BJP had the problem of not being able to develop, they were not sure if it was internally approved. Congress's problem, on the other hand, is that they do not know whether it would be externally approved. And that, I'm afraid, comes through. No matter what congresspersons say, the simple fact is that Mr. Manmohan Singh's tenure, in a sense, is over. They can't possibly have him for the third time. Rahul Gandhi's probation cannot possibly be extended. He has to be there in the battle, and the Congress doesn't know whether it can do so. So the message that goes out to ordinary people is that this is a probation carried too far beyond its expiry date, and that there is a weakness, that there is there's a lack of battle preparedness, there's unwillingness to engage. That's the message, I'm afraid, which is bound to go out from something like this.
I'll take that back to Shaktisinh Gohil, because there's also something that the Congress spokesperson Bhakcharan Das said yesterday, which really stood out, saying that the post of Prime Minister is a small thing for Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He's keen to work for the upliftment of the poor, and it doesn't matter to him. He's not like those who become Prime Minister due to some arithmetic. Now, why be so dismissive of the Prime Minister's post? Is he really above the Prime Minister's post? And what is he there for? Does the Prime Minister not work for the upliftment of the poor?
He is our leader. He decides the policy. Today, he is a vice president in the party. Sonia ji, as a UPA chairperson, that was she who gave the vision, and because of her, there are lots of legislation which is helpful to the Aam Aadmi. Here, we have a clarity about our leaders. In BJP today also, if you ask Mr. Chandan Mitra or anyone, they say, if 220, then Narendra Modi. If 200, we may think about Sushma ji. If 210, we may go for Rajnath Singh ji. So there are many prime ministerial aspiring candidates, And who is deciding there? No democratic setup. There is a Sangh Parivar. I'll pose a question. Was there any election for Mohan Bhagwat? No. BJP is also a one type of setup like Durga Vahini, VHP, like that. This is a BJP.
You can't say that. It's the principal opposition party. They are elected legislators.
No, it's not there. Otherwise,
it's not VHP. It's not a fair comparison.
It's the same, because otherwise the elected leader opposition, her voice is ignored. Elected leader like Advani ji,
let's talk about the Congress today.
His voice is ignored.
Let's not talk
and
about
Sangh has dominated.
But they at least know that they have a prime ministerial candidate. You don't.
No.
Because your leader is so reluctant. No, you don't.
Also
Because Rahul Gandhi is there. It looks like he's forced to go there and be the vice president of the party. He doesn't seem to want to take on any responsibility, any position.
Responsibility. He is on the forefront. He is fighting for the cause. That was he who gave the ideas of Manrega. And how many persons are benefited because of Rahul Gandhi's idea of Manrega? That is he who has said that if you are giving your land, that for proper price for the land has
but
to be given.
But the point is,
Lord
Meghnath Desai, the problem with Rahul Gandhi is that he may have these wonderful ideas Mr. Gohil keeps talking about, but he keeps them to himself. We don't hear about them.
No.
We don't know what he thinks. Let Lord Desai answer that.
Let's not be silly. Manrega is not Rahul Gandhi's idea. Manrega was an idea born when the Maharashtra had a famine way back in 1970s, and that is when the idea came that you could make these work schemes to give people employment. Rahul Gandhi was nowhere in the picture, probably in his nappies at that time. Okay, so let's forget about the Rahul Gandhi invented Manrega. I mean, that's nonsense. The Congress's problem is very simple. They only have one proper campaigner, and that's Sonia Gandhi. Nobody else in Congress knows how to campaign. And Congress's chief campaigner is going to be Sonia Gandhi. And if anybody is going to deliver anything in Congress, it's going to be Sonia Gandhi, depending on her energy. Now, Rahul Gandhi is neither here nor there. And that is why they are belittling the prime ministership. I mean, the Congress strategy is Prime Minister, anybody can be Prime Minister. Let us get elected, then we will buy a Prime Minister. Kisi ko bhi baitha denge. What is the Prime Minister? Nothing. As for Manmohan's life has been made miserable because all the Congress wala think Prime Minister is a
You're saying that they've undermined the position of the Prime Minister.
Yes,
they've
devalued the position of Prime Minister.
Okay. You've undervalued it, yes, because
and then of course.
Yes, go ahead.
And because of Rahul Gandhi being weak, they have to do this.
Mr. Gohil, quickly, yes,
I'll have to respond for one thing. That look at the track record of the Congress party. When we got the majority, that was Sonia ji, who has picked up Manmohan Singh ji. If the prime ministerial post is for anyone and Congress was taking lightly, then any Tom, Dick and Harry could have been suggested. No. Very seriously, Sonia ji took a decision, and that Manmohan Singh ji was given that responsibility.
And you
here in BJP, whom is picked up by RSS, a person whose track record, for whom the Supreme Court had to say, if you can't protect your citizens, quit. For whom Bajpayee ji had to say, apna Raj Dharma nibhao. He never spoke about any development.
I just pointed out, your colleague in the Congress party yesterday said Rahul Gandhi is above the Prime Minister's post. He doesn't. It's a small thing for him. It doesn't matter. Isn't that astounding?
Power hungry.
What is he here for then? Isn't he a leader? Isn't he supposed to be a leader?
And he
How
is leading.
Why is it so bad to lead and take responsibility from the front? Dilip Pardankar, let me come to you because you wrote something interesting about how the projection of Mr. Modi could really go either way for both parties. Do you think it's important for the Congress to formally project Rahul Gandhi? Is it going to matter?
Well, Nidhi, the Congress has a major drawback, and it is trying to change that drawback into an opportunity. The drawback is that the Congress has no leader who can match either the charisma or the oratorial skills of Narendra Modi. And because of this drawback, they are now turning it into an opportunity to say, we are going to harp not on personalities, we are going to harp on issues. We are not going to fall into the trap being laid for us by the BJP, namely to turn the forthcoming election into a sort of plebiscite for one or the other personality. And I think to that extent, to ask the Congress party to immediately name its leader really is not going to take you anywhere, because the Congress is not going to do it. The Congress has probably decided that it is much better off not naming anyone when everyone knows who the major campaigners are going to be. So I think it's a misplaced question whether or not the Congress should or should not name a leader. I think the Congress strategy appears to me to be quite different, because it is trying to get the maximum mileage out of what it perceives to be one of its major handicaps, namely the lack of a charismatic and skillful orator sort of leader.
Let me take this to Chandan Mitra, because Mr. Mitra, we heard Mr. Jaitley also saying the other day that this is going to be sort of a quasi-presidential election where it's going to be a personality-driven contest. Others, though, say it's not. We are a parliamentary democracy. You've named prime ministerial leaders in the past. Why would this time be any different? That in India, people vote more on issues than they do on people.
No, I am not in agreement with that. I mean, successively in the various state elections now you see, state elections too are centered around personalities. Our very successful chief ministers in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, they have developed into very, very popular and effective leaders for their good governance and delivery systems, and the Congress is hamstrung by the absence of any strong personality to take them on. So to suggest that people vote on issues and not on personalities is wrong. People want to know who is going to be the leader, because all parties issue manifestos, all parties have fairly detailed programs which nobody reads, which nobody campaigns on. People campaign around an individual, a personality, and that is what works throughout the world. You see, in every country, in every democratic country, parliamentary, presidential of course, but even in parliamentary elections in Europe and other places, it is very clear that if you vote X party to power, this person is going to become the Prime Minister. People know in advance. I think the people are entitled to know what kind of leader they'll get. Do they approve the leader? Does the leader have a good image? Does he have integrity? Does he have national interest at heart? All these things people know. And Mr. Shaktisinh Gohil knows very well that for all the campaign over all these years, the campaign of calumny that they've carried out, Mr. Modi keeps winning election after election after election in Gujarat, and Mr. Gohil and his party have been reduced to the sidelines. They are visible only in TV studios, but not on the streets of Gujarat.
Not always in TV studios either, but that's another story. It's Mr. Gohil, yes.
I'm reminding you two things. First is that when Modi's no birth in BJP, especially for Gujarat, he was out of Gujarat. At that time in 1990, out of 182, we Congress MLAs were just 32 when Modi was not there. Today the numbers are double. So it's not that because of Modi in Gujarat, BJP is doing well. Today numbers of Congress MLAs are double. That is in Gujarat Legislative Assembly. So what
you can keep comforting yourself. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Because of Modi, there is nothing good in Gujarat. And during the elections, he never spoke about work done by him, about the development model. Each and every election, if you can have your footages also. During each and every election in Gujarat, he divided society. He said, Pakistan ko sid creek de denge, dekho Congress kya kar rahi hai. And thereafter, what about it? He is silent. When election comes, he will divide the society and try to get. That is, he succeeded in Gujarat.
People have the right to know who the Congress's leader would be, as Chandan Mitra says. Don't people have a right to know who the alternative leadership would be?
The message is very loud and clear. We have a leader, Sonia ji and Rahul ji. President and Vice President is our leader. And under their leader, in 2004, we didn't declare any prime minister. Let me finish. In 2004, I didn't interrupt.
Okay, let him finish and I
just want to ask a very small question
yes.
to Mr. Gohil.
Yes.
You see, you say that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are your leaders. Why not tell the people that after the election Sonia Gandhi will be our Prime Minister or Rahul Gandhi will be our Prime Minister? Why did you say that? Why do you leave it to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi to pick up like a lottery slip after the election and pick up
I'll reply. I got your point. I got your point. Let me reply.
The award goes to
I got your point. Let me reply.
It's a valid question.
Yes, and I'm replying that. In 2004, we didn't announce any name for a prime ministerial post. On another hand, BJP had a face, feel-good factor, India shining. The Indian voters had never questioned. They were knowing that in the leadership of Sonia Gandhi, Congress is fighting this election. They gave us a majority and people's trust was fulfilled by Sonia Gandhi ji. She picked up person like Manmohan Singh ji. Next election, after 5 years, again people voted for us.
And that time you named Manmohan Singh as your face.
That time certainly, because at that time, that was the time wherein Manmohan Singh ji's health, everything was going on. And in 2004, we didn't name.
Not unhealthy.
We didn't name. Today Manmohan Singh ji is saying, I will prefer. That is his word. I will prefer work under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi ji. So Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi is our leader. The country had in past accepted them as leader, and today...
But something has changed. Yogendra Yadav, what has changed? Between 2004 and now, in 2004, yes, they didn't name a leader and then they won. What has changed in the last 10 years about the Indian voter and elections in this country that, as you say, personalities do matter?
Personalities mattered even in 2004, but yes, Congress won despite that. What has changed in the last 10 years is that in 2004 you did not have a prince in waiting who has been there around for some time. Now you have someone who has been on probation, who has been discussed for more than 10 years, and now for him not to step in would only look like a reluctance to come into the force. Look at the larger political context. There is a political vacuum in the country, and in walks Mr. Modi, who appears, and I'm saying appears, decisive. He appears someone who is determined, brings energy, and who has a story to tell. Now, it's of course, the fact is that much of the story is a false story. Yes, so much of his charisma is propped up by PR. Yes, he's an untested commodity outside Gujarat. But the only way to take him on is by counter energy, by a counter narrative. You need to have a face that carries conviction, and the Congress and no other party is able to provide it. And therefore Mr. Modi, who represents a danger and a challenge not only currently to whatever party or anything, he poses a danger to the very idea of India. He is being allowed to get away with everything by Congress party, and in history Congress's culpability in the rise of Mr. Narendra Modi will have to be recorded.
Very, very interesting points there made by Yogendra Yadav. I want to ask Lord Desai, though, taking off from what Yogendra said, that the need to have a counter narrative to Narendra Modi. But if you look at Rahul Gandhi on one side and Mr. Modi on the other, it in a sense isn't a fair fight. You have Narendra Modi, who has huge administrative experience, who won election after election, who appears, as Yogendra says, to be a decisive leader who has a story to tell. You have Rahul Gandhi on the other side, who doesn't have any administrative experience, comes across as vague and philosophical. We don't really know, as we've been saying throughout, what he stands for on so many issues. It seems to be a reluctant leader. Talks about things like poverty is a state of mind, and you're left wondering, scratching your head, what the hell does that mean? So, what kind of a fight would it be, Lord Desai?
I think if Congress would stop pretending that they don't have a problem and start taking it seriously, they ought to get a good advisory group behind Rahul Gandhi who would tell him how to make a speech in the public. They would say that even if he wants to argue about the poor and all that, he better have a coherent story to tell. Yogendra says Narendra Modi is a danger to the idea of India. Well, why doesn't Rahul Gandhi lay out the idea of India which Narendra Modi is a danger to? Why doesn't he spell it out? What is this idea of India that his great-grandfather had put forward? And another thing is, if that is a family heirloom, let them defend the family heirloom. Instead of that, he goes around saying, I'm on the side of the poor, I'm on the side of this. There is no coherent narrative, even in a few speeches he has made. And he's never done a job. This man has never done a job in his life. He has never been a 9-to-5 person. He doesn't attend parliament. When he attends, he barely speaks. He's probably made 2 speeches in 5 years. He is not a responsible parliamentarian. he is not a responsible vice president of the Congress party. Now, we need more proof than just the fact that he's Sonia Gandhi's son to know whether we should vote for him. Let him give us the proof. If he has got any merit, let us see the merit.
For Lord Desai.
Sure.
Yeah, Nidhi, I would like to ask Lord Desai, have you seen the track record of Mr. Modi's parliamentary career? In Assembly,
Let's talk about Rahul Gandhi. Forget Modi. Let's talk about Rahul Gandhi.
Rahul Gandhi remains president in the House. How many? It's not about Narendra Modi.
Is there state assembly is not equivalent to parliament?
In state assembly, what is the track record of Mr. Modi?
I don't want to know about
as a parliamentarian.
Look,
how is it?
What is Rahul Gandhi started?
Level?
How many times have you watched
Rahul Gandhi?
What has he done?
Rahul Gandhi is better in parliament compared to Narendra Modi in Gujarat as a
total of 1.5 times.
Being a chief minister, he is not
He has hardly been there.
He is not remaining present in the
He has
House.
hardly been there.
Except in the question asked and in
No,
the
he doesn't even turn up.
How much does Mr. Rahul Gandhi spend in the House?
I can provide you the data.
Hardly any
Narendra Modi
It's less
has
than 50%.
a
I can tell you his attendance is less than 50%.
He has killed the democratic
How many
system.
times have you heard Rahul Gandhi speak in the House? No, seriously.
Many more times than Narendra Modi in this
I heard him
country.
speak once.
Most of the time he's in
Many
Dubai.
more times than Narendra Modi in the Assembly. Rahul Gandhi remained present in the House compared to Narendra Modi more than hours
He
and hours.
doesn't.
If you compare this timing, Narendra Modi never
I'm
remained
happy to
present in the
compare the
House.
timing, but I don't think
nonsense.
He never remained. He doesn't believe in the parliamentary democracy.
Who?
Narendra Modi doesn't believe in the democratic system. He has killed the democracy.
Narendra Modi has been elected 3 times.
Exactly.
Because dividing
Narendra
society
Modi has been elected
by
3 times.
Mr. Lord
What
Desai,
justice is Mr.
by
Gohil saying?
dividing society without talking about the development model. During the election, he never spoke about the development. Never spoke about it. And in the assembly, I'll tell you, Nidhi, I'll tell you, Nidhi, I will provide you the data, and also Mr. Desai if you want. In the assembly, there is no deputy speaker since trial year.
I'm sorry,
You can't make the comparison. I don't think it's a fair comparison because Rahul Gandhi is never hardly in parliament either, and I think all of us here are witness to that.
When you are comparing both,
And Nidhi, I want to point out, I think it's very wrong. That's
what wrong? I can give you official data.
All these kind of sweeping allegations that Modi is anti-democracy, does not believe in parliamentary democracy. No, he's an elected chief minister, 3 times elected.
Okay, I just want to last comment from Mr. Pargankar. Because one second, Mr. Pargankar, you've argued at the beginning that the Congress is doing the right thing because this is their weakness and they're going, in this particular direction where they're not going to name him. But you've heard some compelling arguments from Yogendra Yadav and Lord Meghnad Desai that you need to have a counter-narrative to Narendra Modi. How is the Congress going to project that counter-narrative? And, how much are they playing a role in the rise of Mr. Modi today? I think that line with Mr. Pargankar has just died on us, and I'm going to give the last word to Lord Desai. Lord Desai, do you believe that the Congress will, at some point closer to the election, bite the bullet, take the plunge, and maybe name Rahul Gandhi?
I hope they do, but I've heard another story that the real person is going to be Priyanka. At the last minute, they'll name Priyanka for the Prime Minister candidate and hope that her youth will triumph over Narendra Modi. I wish them luck. I think they're taking this thing too lightly. They're too sanguine and they're too arrogant. They ought to get their act together and they ought to project Rahul Gandhi properly.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that tonight. Very interesting note to end on. Priyanka Gandhi, Lord Meghnad Desai thinks is going to be the surprise candidate of the Congress party closer to the elections. A lot of buzz in Delhi about that as well. But let's see what surprises the next few weeks and months do throw up. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us on the program tonight. We're going to take a break. Still ahead, why should the taxpayer, why should you and me pay for the medical expenses of India's bureaucrats to go abroad for expensive medical treatments? That's after the break. While these are clearly difficult times for the economy, the centre has talked about austerity, even telling people to carpool and cut down on the use of fuel, which is why it's baffled many as to why the government has announced that babus of the IAS and IPS will now get free medical treatment abroad for certain conditions. That includes taxpayer money to fund the airfare and the travel of an attendant as well. The IAS Officers Association, however, says this is not a perk but a necessity.
Free treatment abroad for all India Services officers. The Department of Personnel has floated an official memorandum. IAS, IPS and Indian Forest Service officials will now get reimbursed for complex medical treatment abroad for themselves and their dependents. The government will also pay for the airfare for the patient and an attendant.
So they have issued an OM to bring parity between the central services and the all India services, and it is nothing more than that.
The scheme is already available to all Indian Foreign Service officers, but does it make sense to extend it to all IAS, IPS and Forest Service officials? That at a time when the rupee is sliding and India can hardly afford to pay in dollars.
I don't see any logic, because we're all covered by the central health scheme. And we can go to the best of the hospitals. They can all be reimbursed. So there's a large list. You have the government hospitals, you also have the private hospitals. The best known names. You can go there.
A screening committee will decide on recommending cases abroad, but many are questioning why bureaucrats need to go abroad when patients from other countries are flocking to India for treatment, and whether it sends out the wrong signal about the campaign to promote medical tourism in India.
The list of India's problems is endless, so there's a lot that needs to be done with the public revenue. And the money that the taxpayers pay, a lot needs to be bought with. At a time when the economy is already strained, perhaps paying for the treatment of babus abroad is not at the top of that list. Reporting from New Delhi, Aanchal Bora, NDTV. So why should the taxpayer pay for these expenses? Does this send out the wrong signal? Joining us tonight, we have Kiran Bedi here in the studio with us, senior lawyer Majid Memon from Mumbai, KJ Alphonse, former IAS officers here with us, also Dr. Puneet Bedi, senior consultant at Apollo Hospital here in the studio with us. Let me ask Kiran Bedi first. What is the message that we're sending out here? We've just got a lecture on austerity a couple of weeks ago from the oil minister, and now you have this. Was this necessary? Is this needed?
Besides austerity, you have the facilities here today. So are you failing? Are you saying you don't have confidence in what you have? You got it both in the private and the public sector. Good medical care is available both in the private and public sector, and you have a very good list. You can, if you don't want to go to a government hospital, you can go to Apollo's and Vedanta's and many others hospitals which are available. So you have the best facility available today. I don't see a need for flying out at all. It's creating classes between classes. Remember, India has 6.4 million government servants. Then let this rule apply to all. Why only to class 1s and class 2 or central government employees? Then it applies to everybody, because we are undercovered already under the central health government scheme, and we all as government servants contribute to it, and then we also get reimbursed, and there is an eligible list where we could go. I don't think it's a case at all to fly out for whatever reason. And if you talk about cancer or bone marrow, etc., all this is available today in best of the hospitals in India.
So, Mr. Alphonse, before I read out the list of ailments, why is this necessary, according to you?
Yeah, see, this is something which was available to central government services. In fact, the rule is called Central Government Medical Attendance Rule 1944. I don't really know why it is called 1944. I guess the rules must have been framed in 1944. Exactly what is available to the central government employees, it is being made available to the all India services, that's all, to the IAS and to the IPS under the Foreign Service. That is all. It is ending a discrimination which has been there for a long time. That is all.
It's ending a discrimination.
Exactly. Now,
you just said it's actually creating a divide.
Now, the premium service in India, everybody accepts is the all India services, the IAS, the IPS, the Foreign Services. Everybody accepts that. Now, central government employees were enjoying certain benefits which was denied to the IAS and to the IPS under the Forest Service, which of course is being now extended to them. That is all what this order of 2nd of September.
Why should it be extended to anybody? Please tell me. I'm just asking, do you not get these medical facilities here, first of all, in India?
See, I have been in the IAS for 27 years, then I've been an MLA. I have never claimed a medical reimbursement all my life. I've not been to a hospital either. So it is irrelevant for me as an individual. I hate an injection. I'm very scared of injections. The point is, if you pay peanuts you will get monkeys. Now, when I started in the IAS, my salary was 740 rupees. You want to get honest IAS officers, you got to pay them well, you got to take care of them. Now, very simple, you got to take care of them.
What's wrong with India's hospitals?
Well, there is nothing wrong with India's hospital, but there are diseases, there are cases in which you need exceptional medical
let me just read out. Let me read out the treatments here. Okay.
Yeah.
Complex high-risk cardiovascular surgery, so vague I can't tell you. Treatment of extremely complex ailments, which could mean anything in the world. Complex medical and oncological disorders. Dr. Bedi, this sounds like you could include anything in this. I mean, what does that mean? Can none of these be treated here at home?
I think this order really highlights two things. One is that the candid acceptance of the health ministry and the minister that we have completely messed up our health services. It is a candid acceptance that the real privileged Indians, cannot really be subjected to the Aam Aadmi type of treatment, and because Aam Aadmi type of treatment is not just good enough. So first the government made privileged hospitals like the All India Institute for themselves, then they were not good enough, so they made these very, very fancy private hospitals in the name of PPP and all kind of, and now these are not good enough, then they want to go abroad. Second thing it says is that we haven't moved forward since 1944. I think we need to know that 1944 was Second Great War, and at that time most of the senior administrators were white, or what we call Pakka Sahibs, who were really converted into whites. And it was more logical to treat diarrheas and malarias in this country and take everybody else abroad than to upgrade the health service. So I think government, by this order, extending it to the rest of the privileged services, has accepted that A, we have not moved forward from 1944, and B, we are so different from the Aam Aadmi, and we need to spend massive dollars to get our own treatments, and also accepted that we neither have done anything in the last 70 years.
But here we're talking about medical tourism. People come to India for treatment, and now we have our own people going out. Let me ask Majid Memon. Mr. Memon, is this reflective of the VIP syndrome? You've come on this program before to talk about that, but there is a sense of entitlement that certain people feel in this country. Already bureaucrats get a lot of freebies. There are fuel bills, there are phones, MPs already get them in massive benefits and freebies. Is this just an extension of that, that there is a sense of entitlement?
See, Nidhi, I have heard the participants now, and I have also heard what you have been saying. Now let us clarify a couple of factors. There is not only because the facilities are now provided by the government to the IAS, IPS and IFS officers that we talk about the standards of our hospital. You see, standards of our hospitals and medical facilities and expertise of the doctor is an issue which by itself needs to be independently examined. Are we on par with the world or not is another question. This question doesn't arise.
Why is the world coming to India to be treated then?
Number one. Now give me 1 minute more. See, Nidhi, I'll tell you one thing. IAS, IPS officers, it's not a luxury that is being provided to them. It's a necessity, as you said earlier, and the provision is that a screening committee would decide appropriate cases. It is not that for anybody who wants to go joyride, therefore he will travel to US and the taxpayer will...
No, but the cases are so vague. I just read out the headings to you.
No,
it could be anything.
And then listen, one more minute. Maybe see, why not the high-ranking bureaucrats, who should be looked after in the best possible way through the public money? Because see, the perks, the salaries, etc. probably may not be as... We are fighting against corruption. We want these officers to be more effective, more honest, etc. If they are given a bit of concession or some facility here or there, I don't think there is a need even for a debate.
Kiran Bedi?
Do they need this facility to become more efficient? Actually, what they really need is right postings and transfer policies. What the bureaucrats need is not this privilege, but not get suspended wrongly, and get promoted rightly and get posted appropriately. I think by this you would attract better services and not by offering them these privileges, and this should have gone away since 1944 now?
Yeah, 1944.
Why did they not withdraw it and amend it?
47.
Secondly, 47, whatever it is. It's pre-independence. This should have been done away with completely, this order. Instead of waking up now that you go to the IAS and IPS, I think they should have, but I suspect that suddenly somebody is needing it and it got applied. I think this is probably need-oriented for a section which has got it revived. You see, remember, when bureaucratic orders like this, Nidhi, when get revived, you know what? There is an element which has a specific interest and it lived as long as and it dies out after that. So I suspect even in this bureaucracy, whoever has brought up this order is probably to meet some...
But I have another question for Mr. Memon, because Mr. Memon, you're also a politician, you're an ally of this government at the centre. Just a couple of weeks ago on this program, the oil minister was telling us about carpooling, austerity. He was in fact supposed to announce a series of measures this week on austerity, and because of the high oil prices, I think thankfully Syria and the fact that a strike didn't happen averted that. But when you're lecturing the rest of the country on austerity and the state of the economy today, what kind of a signal does this send? I mean, you know, there are thousands of IPS and IFS and IAS officers in this country. It adds up to thousands. If you do the math, this could cost a lot of money.
No, let me tell you, Nidhi, you have said earlier that rupee has stabilized. 63 rupees is the general rupee, is not a problem now about dollar exchange. Now, what I'm suggesting is this, that don't feel that, well, this is something that you are giving which will become a burden on the exchequer and all. This is a very small amount will have to be earmarked for these purposes, more particularly when they are going to be screened. The cases would be screened, and upon appropriate standards and the satisfaction of the screening authority, that there will be sanction. So I don't think there is a need to make hue and cry that they have been given something which is going to put burden onto the taxpayer. In my
you don't think that when you have something as vast as cardiovascular surgery, oncological disorders, treatment of extremely complex ailments, I mean, I can think of a bad cold as a complex ailment too. I mean, what will that constitute, and doesn't what will the screening committee do? You think they're going to turn down anybody's request, especially that of a senior bureaucrat?
If I ask you a question, Nidhi, why are you after the blood of the bureaucrats alone when this has come? Tell me, are not many people who can afford and are well placed still choose to go abroad, the United States or some other countries? They do. No, but that's right. You see, here also only selected cases which are deserving. Well, this argument that the treatment can be better had in India will also be examined by the screening committee. And it's not that they are going to simply on their application would be permitted to go and do it.
Well, I don't see the screening committee saying no to senior bureaucrats. Mr. Alphonse, come on.
See,
it's too vague.
No, look at this. You have the most competitive examination in the world. 500,000 people write the IAS examination. You choose 100 people into the IAS, about 60 people into the IPS. You want, if these 100 people and 60 people function properly in this country, let me tell you, we can have a good administration, a clean administration, in spite of all the dirty politics you're talking about.
She's been part of the same administration.
Yeah, see, I was, and I'm a politician now. In spite of all the dirty politics you're talking about, we can still have a good administration. Let me tell you, we need a happy, competent administration, and this is the key to everything. You take Singapore, you take any country. And therefore, let me tell you the cost which you're talking about. In the medical treatment of 100 IAS officers, out of these 100, how many would be treated abroad? Let me tell you, they have set in position a very good system. There's a screening committee in the state, there's a standing committee in the center comprising of the top medical people, and only those which cannot be treated in India would be sent abroad. Now, let me again tell you, if we think we have the best medical system in India, I'm very sorry. There are a lot of areas in which we are still not the best. There are a lot of areas in which we still cannot treat. Yes, we can still say, when half the population of India still go without a full meal a day, how dare I have a full meal a day? You can ask me a question. How dare I wear a good shirt? You can ask me a question when half the people are going naked. You could ask me a question. And therefore, how dare I go to a private hospital?
No.
Yes.
No one's saying that. At the end of the day, it's taxpayer money. I mean, please, if you can afford it, by all means do it. But why should the government pay for it? With the
taxpayers' money, this 100 people and 60 people in the IPS are selected to deliver to the people of India good administration. These people must be looked after well.
One thing.
They must be looked after well.
CGHS covers families.
Yeah,
CGHS covers retired personnel also. Even I can be that. So the point is, you are reaching out, and why only discriminate? Why only class 1 like this? Then it's down the line. See, you've got to have one.
I think the point he's making is that because
I disagree with Bedi, because see, you can't have this for millions and millions of people. Naturally, some people who are at the higher place and are getting better salaries. Well, all right.
No,
so they are key administrators.
I think that... See, if you're going by Kiran's argument, then we would say we have 1.3 billion people today, then why should any minister, any bureaucrat be given a preference in preference to the person living in a slum? The same question can be asked. We are all human beings, we are all citizens, everybody has the same
We
right.
question a lot of the freebies ministers
Exactly.
get too.
Then why should a minister should get a posh bungalow because somebody is living, half the people in this country don't have a home.
So all the wrongs continue to be extended.
Yeah,
so the wrongs continue. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
This country has provided, the constitution has provided for all India services. Who are the top decision makers? They must be looked after.
Okay, Dr. Bedi, yes, last word to you.
I think it's typically that
One second,
it's
Mr.
typical that my rights, my privileges are my rights and everybody else's rights are their privilege. It's a basically ruling class argument that I deserve it more. But I think beyond this, whenever there are ethical issues, and I do think this is an ethical issue for the whole nation, is that finally when we tell a patient that she needs the surgery, she doesn't need the surgery, she can make choices. I think it always boils down that people tell you, if she was your daughter, wife or sister, what you would do. And I think it is very, very pertinent for us to ask that if these were the citizens of India who had cancer and complex cardiovascular disease, whatever nonsense, I think we need to upgrade the health services. They put the same money into it and stop this politics of entitlement and this claim that all your privileges and this pitting yourself as a service, and we are the privileged few and we are being, living poor. This is the kind of argument you see in all privileged circles, including doctors.
Mr. Raman, last 20 seconds, like I said also earlier, if you can afford it, it's different, but why does taxpayer money have to pay for it? Yeah.
No, it's not that we cannot afford Nidhi, only a proper mechanism is required to see that deserving cases do get. But remember one thing, look after our bureaucrats and IAS, IPS better, attract the better class talents from the society to come towards the job, give them quite satisfactory and expect from them honest and effective performance for the nation, and I think they can cut down even the corruption in the politics. The political leaders.
Transfers and postings. More than health, they need better transfers and postings and not get suspended.
It never works that giving more pay does not prevent corruption. Actually, it reduces it.
All right, I'm going to have to leave it at that. It's a fascinating debate, and well, there's nothing really we can do about it. The central government has announced it, but at least it did stir some kind of a debate on the issue of entitlements in this country. Thank you very much, though, to all of you for joining us tonight. That's it on the show this evening. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Bye.